how y'all doing?
We chill and chat.
Good
We
afternoon.
know that we're half an hour late. We understand.
Sorry, it's been that
Oh,
kind of day. We
that
was
kind
gone
of
last week, and it's just been that kind of.
But we're gonna make it quick. We will not stay longer than our time. Normally, we always say that, but we do. But we won't this time because we're gonna get straight to what we got to talk about. Okay.
And there are things to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. All right,
Yeah.
I'm Narnie Pierre Grant. We have Sandra Shaffer. We're both co-hosts of Race and the Racist. We are a show that comes on because we want our Black people to be politically inclined and participate in the political process, because at the end of the day, your vote is your superpower, in my opinion, and your vote does matter, as you can see with these past elections, and that is your way of being at the table, figuratively. Okay, right. So anything politics, anything, we do talk about, things that happen in social media. We'll talk about that too, but we are really into making sure everybody understands the political process, who's running for what, how these elected officials affect your everyday lives, and we know that true change comes within this realm, this environment. So that's why we're here. You want to go straight into what we need to talk about? First of all, so let's talk about Florida, because that's where we're at. We're from Florida. Yeah. We're South Floridians. We live in Broward County. So a couple of bills were signed by the governor of our state a few days ago.
Apparently, Florida's a free state. This is the freest.
I don't know what that means.
This is the freest state in the union.
I don't know what that means. Because I thought we were already free. But okay.
But it's the freest state. You're free to do all kind of stuff, is what he said.
Yeah, you're free to you're free to do all kinds of stuff as long as the governor deems that it's okay. Let's just make that clear.
Okay. So it's freedom, but it's on his terms.
It's on his terms. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's what that means. It's okay. On his terms. And I don't know, this free,
but you got to do what I say.
Not what I do. Don't do what I say, but not as I do.
You free, but you got to do what I say. You got to do what I say. That's it. That's the freedom.
This freedom conversation didn't come about until the pandemic, but I digress. So he signed
that's when we was free to get COVID.
Okay. That is correct. You're free to get COVID, and you're free to spread it to everybody else. You're free to do it.
You was free to get COVID, then.
And if you're in another state and you feel like you can't do that, if you can come over here.
And I think the officers was free to brutalize people too, because if you left your job because they want you to treat people a certain kind of way, you could come work in Florida.
Right. And that goes for police
free to do that too.
For police officers that were being held accountable.
I think the ones that knocked the old man down and cracked his head.
Yeah.
Because he was protesting, exercising his First Amendment right.
And had his hands up. Yeah. So those officers are allowed to come over here and get jobs because they're free to be
the freest state.
Floridians.
All right. I just wanted to understand the freedom we have in Florida. That's all.
Okay.
All right.
That's that. Okay. He signed some bills that
I think last year you was also, they passed the bill that you were free to run over people that were protesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We have the anti-protest bill.
Yeah, you're free to do that too.
That state that you can run people over. In Florida. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just trying to understand the freedoms.
Well, the freedoms here is free to be violent to people. That's the freedom you got.
So we're free to do that.
You're free, the violence can permeate all throughout the state of Florida, and you're free to do that.
Oh, you know what else you were free to do in Florida last year too? To be unrepresented for like
a full
9 months.
Be unrepresented in a full.
For some people, it was 11 months. You was free to have no representation.
None at all.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
All the
freedoms over here. Yeah, that's how we roll over here. Okay. He signed some bills. One bill that affects the LGBTQIA, I'm hoping I'm saying this correctly, community. And he signed it with a smiling face and children behind him. But
who kids he had up there?
Oh, I don't know who kids he had. He had children. He had a few children.
Who children he had up there?
He was trying to drive.
They probably ain't even know why they was there.
They don't. To drive the point home that that bill he was signing was really to protect them. But okay.
Protect who?
Them children.
That didn't know why they were there?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Okay.
You know, just show up and put a smile on your face.
You better ask somebody.
You also in Florida free to get yelled at by the governor if you put a mask on.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh wait. You're also free to preserve the feelings of white people. Don't forget about that.
You free to not make them feel uncomfortable.
You free to not make them feel uncomfortable. And then if you're uncomfortable, to hell with you.
Yeah. You free to leave.
You're free to go.
You're free to leave Florida.
You don't have to live in Florida if you don't like it. If you don't like legislations that's protecting white people's feelings, and if you don't like legislations that affect LGBTQIA community, and if you don't like being brutalized by police officers, and if you don't like that you can't protest your freedom, your right to do so, because
you're still free. Right? You are free to go.
You are free to leave and exit Florida. You got to stay here. Okay?
They free in Florida.
This is why your vote matters. This is why you need to be part of the election. Governor Ron DeSantis is up for re-election this year. Okay? If Floridians...
You want to call it this year, or like, is it a few months? I think we were 6 months, 7 months away.
Primaries in August.
Yes.
Election is in November.
And so the primary is important for Democrats because there are 3 different Democratic candidates that are running for governor of the state of Florida. Nikki Fried, Charlie Crist, Annette Tadeo, right? Mm-hmm. And whoever comes out of that primary is the person that's going to run against Ron DeSantis unless they decide to change their party and become an independent.
Well, it's too late because Ron DeSantis decided to put in these what they call it again, these voting right bills and all that, these voting bills. So now, in order for you to change your party, you would have to have changed it 365 days prior to.
Oh, so we're not gonna have a repeat of 2006.
You can't change your party no more.
Was that 2006 when Charlie Crist did that, or was that 2012?
Girl,
probably 2012.
The point is, you can't do it now. You got to wait a whole year before you do it. So now,
if they don't make it out of the primary, whoever makes it out of the primary, who is going to run against Ron DeSantis? So that's just telling you it needs to be somebody who can beat Ron DeSantis in November during the midterm election season.
I'm like this, like 2016 and 2020. I will vote for a pencil. Before vote for Ron DeSantis.
He's no longer an option.
He is no longer an option.
Proven that he's not fit to lead.
And be clear, co-host, and let them know he is not interested in being the governor of Florida, honey. He is trying to run for president. But y'all need to see this for what it is. Okay? Yeah. See this for what it is.
Yeah, all right? But I don't think he understands what's happening in the rest of the country, though. I don't know who his people is telling him the things that he's doing in Florida is what the rest of the United States want to see happen. I mean, he was a little popular. I was in Tennessee and they knew who he was.
They knew who he was because in Tennessee, they told you that your state is free.
Yeah. I'm free to not wear a mask in a car with somebody I don't know, but okay.
Hey, he became popular when he became the anti-mask and anti-vaccine governor. That's when he became popular.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen.
Oh, Clarence told us hello. Hello, Mr. Williams.
Hello, Mr. Williams. Listen. I'm just saying, y'all. You. It's free here, but you're free to leave too.
Free to leave if you don't like the freedoms that already exist in the state of Florida.
We have to laugh because it's just he's a whole joke. That governor's a whole joke, a complete, utter joke.
And surrounds himself with more jokers.
I mean, look at it. Look at who does he look at the man that he has that his
Surgeon General of the state of Florida.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
So that is Florida news. And so we have.
Oh, did we talk about the bills? We talk about you. It was a couple of bills that you wanted to talk about, and I kind of distracted you talking about all the freedoms
bill
in
that I
Florida.
want to talk about is a federal bill, but
Okay.
the bills here are the Don't Say Gay bill. He has a woke legislation that he's going to sign to. That's the taking care of the Ken and Karens of Florida when their feelings are hurt. And you know, black people basically got to walk on eggshells to make sure that they feel okay because of the atrocities that their ancestors did. But I digress. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back.
Mm-hmm,
all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do have several.
Oh, they don't want to teach the kids real American history?
No.
Oh.
Why would they want to do that though? Why would they want to teach the truth?
You go to school to get an education.
But you're not supposed to learn the truth though. You're not supposed to learn the truth. You're supposed to learn what they want you to know, not you know. Yes. Also, that's another thing. Thank you very much, Stephanie. He did veto the map, so now there is a special session happening because now they have to go and redraw the maps. He's basically trying to disenfranchise Black communities in the state of Florida. And that I think he vetoed it when he went and signed that Don't Say Gay bill foolery. And so here we are. He wants to. I think his district. I want to say it's District 5. There's a district that takes up 200 miles and it goes around, I think, parts of Tallahassee. It goes around somewhere, but it takes up 200 miles, but it's all Black encompassing. It's a whole Black district. He wants to cut that up in pieces. That's what he wants to do. And he made it clear that he was.
For what?
He don't want y'all to have representation. You can't have none.
Oh.
You just can't have none. You can't have, and if you do have some, it's going to be his representation for you, not your representation for yourself, for your people. Okay. Yeah, so that's what he's trying to do. So people, I'm just saying, you got the map that he's trying to destroy here in Florida, and this shouldn't be a surprise because it's a Republican-led legislator, and so this is something that they always do. The question becomes,
well, they did it kind of on a different level this time because a lot of the bills that were proposed this and last session were at the strong suggestion by the governor. He kind of decided what he want them to, the issues he wanted them to raise. He was holding press conferences because remember the protest bill? He held a press conference about a protest bill that wasn't even like
that wasn't even an idea. Wasn't even an idea.
And the woke stuff, he said we're gonna cut out all this woke stuff. Yeah.
And let's be clear, governors cannot present bills. They cannot, but they can get people to do it for them
on their behalf. But that's not even how this is supposed to work though, but okay.
People, your elected officials, your state reps and your house reps that you all elect, right?
State senators
who are supposed to represent you are basically doing the governor's bidding rather than representing you. Right. And that's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be from the people to the representatives and then to the governor. That's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to work like that. What you want is what they go.
It's supposed to be the people's agenda, not the governor's agenda, right?
Well,
not the governor's agenda that he thinks is going to help him be president.
This whole legislator, all these sessions that just came through under Ron DeSantis has been the governor's of legislation. It wasn't. It's not. They had nothing to do with us.
Those are things he think he needs to do in order for him to position himself to run for president in 2024.
All right. So
he wants to get reelected as a governor of Florida in 22, but he don't even want to stay. He don't want to keep that job for 4 years.
He sure don't.
He almost want it.
And that goes to show you all these things that he's pushing. He don't care nothing.
Don't get pimped and played again, Florida. Because he's just using you to go on to the next one.
He don't care about us. He don't care about us. He don't care about us. And I'm gonna venture to say that I don't even feel, this is my opinion only. This is not the opinions of Sandra Sheffer or Race and the Races. This is Nikki Narnique Pierre Grant's opinion. I will venture to say he don't even care about his own wife. Because if your wife has cancer and you want to trace around with your wife who has cancer with no mask on, knowing that we're going through a pandemic, I don't even think you care about your wife. That's my opinion.
But at least I'm sure he made sure everybody was vaccinated before they went in there, vaccinated and tested. before they went in that room.
Well, I hope he did.
I'm sure he did.
I hope he did.
They they do that stuff for sure, but they be being careful in the background. So I'm sure everybody that was close enough to her had a negative COVID test.
I have to tell you,
in that room.
Mr. Renee Grant, if I'd had cancer, Mr. Renee Grant had to be in the public eye, and I was going through bouts of cancer. Best believe Narnee Grant wouldn't be in nowhere near the vicinity. I won't. He'll send my regards, but I wouldn't be there.
So my wife out here fighting for her life to make sure she's here to see our children grow up. So yeah.
Well,
she will not be participating in the food.
I'm just saying he's up for re-election. There are 3 candidates that are running.
Should not get re-elected, is what I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying he shouldn't get re-elected. All right, Stephanie, do you know the date of the new session? Do you know the date? Yeah, yes, I absolutely know. I absolutely know that you got to wear a mask near her. Yeah, I know. I'm a survivor too, so I know.
Sandra's a survivor of breast cancer, and till this day, even though we've all April 19th is when the session starts, the week of April 19th for the redistricting.
That's gonna be a whole fight. We gotta watch that. I gotta see how available I am.
What is it again? Florida. I have it.
FloridaChannel.org.
FloridaChannel.org. Please hop on there on April 19th, honey, because we all got to see how they're gonna try to cut this up and make us look like we ain't got nothing that's better to do. Okay. Every single person up in that legislature is I'm just gonna say it, they trash. The Republicans.
Not all of them. Most of them do have people. No, because we have a lot of good Democrats over there that's arguing and fighting a good fight.
The Republicans are trash.
Oh, the Republicans. Okay.
Yeah, most of them.
I didn't hear that.
I'm not gonna say all, because there's some good ones up in there. They sprinkled in somewhere, but most of them are trash. And when I say trash,
that's because they're following party politics and not really doing the people's work.
Listen, it is what it is. So the federal bill that I'd like to talk about
which one?
Is the anti-lynching bill that was signed into law yesterday.
Oh, that was a federal bill?
That's a federal bill.
Oh, I thought that was some Florida stuff.
No, it's Florida. It's the federal bill. Okay. I think it's a century too late, sis. Century and 200 attempts too late.
I mean, that's because they lynch people different these days, though.
Oh.
They go ask you while you're trying to get nominated for the Supreme Court. They tell you to define a woman.
We're gonna get into that.
Let me ask you, like, what's a woman?
We're gonna get into that. But
what's your judicial philosophy?
We're gonna get into that.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, I spoke too fast.
She said, no, it's not happening. I don't know what she's talking about.
She said, no, it's happening. It's happening. She's going to get confirmed. Yeah, there's 3 Republicans that have said that they're going to vote yes. So she should be good.
So we're gonna get into the excellence.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
The black excellence we call Ketanji Brown Jackson. We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, the anti-lynching bill has passed, or signed into law after a century when it was proposed a century ago. And after 200 attempps,
is that like they pass it because it don't matter now and no one needs it?
To me, it's like a century and 200 attempts too late. Like, it's one of those things that we talk about all the time, Sandra, where you said we asked you to do all of that.
We did not ask the NFL to play the Negro national anthem at their games. That's what this is.
100 years ago when it would have mattered when you put it into law. But since you want to give it to us now,
it's like the NFL playing the National Negro Anthem at the games. That's what this is.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know what else to tell you, because that's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm fucking Tuntet Shaji, and that's Creole. And I'll tell y'all what that is later, but that's just okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. That was passed. I feel like it was a campaign promise that needed to be fulfilled. You went ahead and did that. You checked that off your box. All right. It is.
So Stephanie says that, believe it or not, there have been some incidents of lynchings in the South. Yes, they have, and that's why they got hate crime bills. That's why there's hate crimes. It's
I
like,
was gonna jump in with the hate crime bill, but
there's laws to deal with that. Attempted murder, manslaughter, hate crime.
We do have hate crime bills on the books. We do that. We have that.
Ways you could do violation of person's civil rights in the federal system. You could charge them under some state statute.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, back to our Black excellence, and she is our Black excellence for the week. So you have the unqualified questioning the overqualified and making a complete spectacle of this confirmation process. I watched 2 days, 2 of the 3 days. I didn't get to see the third day. I'm gonna go back and take a look at it. But I have to tell you, the first day I was not the first day, the second day I was like, who talked to Ted Cruz? Like who gave Ted Cruz all his information? And Howley, like who had all their stuff ready? And when they started asking questions, that they thought that those questions had anything to do with the qualifications of Judge Jackson, just how she runs and does her. Like I'm trying to understand how you're going to ask a woman who of her caliber if babies are racist. What kind of question is that?
Well,
I'd like to know how the question if babies are racist has anything to do with her ability to look at a case and render a decision.
So the reason why they were asking those kind of questions was because they couldn't check her, they couldn't challenge her on her qualifications at all. Mm-hmm. There was no when you know how you be like you ain't got no room, you talking about like dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's.
Right.
So on the qualification front, they got nothing, right? Mm-hmm. They couldn't check her on her qualifications at all because the lady, she had all her bases covered. She made sure she did some of everything. So all her bases were covered with the qualifications. So they couldn't get her on that. So then that's why they started with the distraction, going into details of cases that if you compare it to where judges manage and handle and issue sentencing, it's comparable. They've voted for people who have the same record as she did, but they're gonna use all those words, especially when they focused on the child pornography cases. They do that because nobody wants to believe, like they know that once people hear child pornography, all of a sudden they're gonna be like, no, put them in jail forever. We don't need people who are in possession of child pornography to be out on the streets and all that kind of stuff. So it's like a hot button buzz issue. So that's the reason why they were talking about those cases, right? And so that's what it is, because they can't get on the qualifications. So there's no issue about whether or not she's qualified for the position. So then that's why they say, they deal with those issues. They want to be like, well, we want to know if she's biased or not, right? And now the big thing that had me like, I just was like, oh, they so funny, right? Was that they were saying, how is it that we can have it where 5 people get to make decisions for the rest of the country? I was like, ooh, now y'all worried about that? Ain't that the way it's always been? Like, seriously, if a decision comes out of the Supreme Court 5-4, those 5 people were the ones that's been making decisions for how the whole United States was going to run ever since the other 116 people that's been on the court has been on the court, right? Or I think it might be a little bit more, but it's some number like that. So I'm like, oh, now all of a sudden, y'all worried about that? But you ain't never been worried about it before?
Not even that. How come they didn't ask Amy that question?
They didn't ask nobody that question because they had no concerns.
So they weren't.
I guess there's like y'all finna try to bring some seasoning up in here. So like once the seasoning was coming, then all of a sudden we got concerns. The food gonna be too spicy.
Make you feel like you gonna have all this power, girl, and we kind of concerned you're gonna have all this power. But
now you got to bring flavor to the room, and we don't want the flavor to take over. Because if you just used to plain old no salt rice, then once you get a little taste, it might just kind of change you up a little bit. So they don't want to bring no spice in the room.
I'm just trying to understand that Amy came and Amy was not qualified none whatsoever, in my opinion. Qualified in the sense that if you look at Judge Jackson's her whole career, this woman has done everything all up and through and under the sun. I mean, everywhere. Like she's done everything.
She did it. She has, like, when I tell you she has her bases covered, she has all of the bases covered. Every I was dot, every T was crossed. They got nothing on the qualifications, so then they had to do the distractions.
And can I tell you, Judge Jackson, if you ever get to see this, I want to tell you that your facial expressions and your composure and your posture,
I was here for every.
I was here for all.
Ounce of it.
I was here. And can you and just some of the pauses, she was like, Senator.
So
I mean, it's just
so she had a straight South Florida moment. She sucked her teeth at one point. I think it was either Cruz or Lindsey Graham that asked her a question. She was like, and then she started talking. I was like, if there was ever an example of So Miami, that was like a So Miami moment.
She was and did you didn't see the glare? Once
I got screenshots of the pictures of the looks. I was here for the looks. I was here for the looks.
I was here for the long pauses, as Stephanie mentioned. There was a part where from after Ted Cruz, a Democrat came, a Democratic senator basically was kind of debunking everything he was saying. She turned around and glared at. Let me take off my glasses so you can see. She went like this. And I was like, yes, ma'am. No. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. That was warranted. We appreciate it. She had her glasses on. She stared right at him and looked back like, dude, that's what you were trying to do?
And a couple times she let the glasses fall low on the nose. She was like...
and did you see her hand? She was like,
She's like, well, I've answered this before. So I'm gonna stay on what I've already put on the record. You know, she let the glasses fall. I was like, oh, she letting the glasses fall, y'all.
You know my favorite part. My favorite part was Brittany Hudson says, "Best on calm, no blank stare when asked those questions." Ma'am, okay. My favorite part is when Ted Cruz had his big old red thing and with the information take out of context. She was like, so her answer was like, so. What you're reading, if I understood that, I was in law school. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when he was talking about the notes.
It was like, oh, sorry. She had a group, and she was like, if that's what you're talking, she's like, with all due respect, I was like, ma'am, you my hero. Because me, Ted Cruz would have got it. He would have got it.
And that's the part that you know how they're trying to say that she's gonna do something to make people lose faith in the system and the judges and all of that. But what they were doing was really making people lose faith in the system. Because Ted Cruz went to law school. Ted Cruz knows exactly what notes are. He knows exactly what the point is. Yeah, he knows exactly what it was, but because you trying to get on a segment on Fox News or whatever, you trying to confuse the issue, you're gonna act like this is something more than it is. And that was the part that's real disingenuous. So the people who, you know, like lawyers, folks who went to law school who understand that, we were looking at it like, dude, like you have like no credibility right now because you trying to really make something out of nothing. You know exactly what that is, and you out here misleading the public and trying to make that out to be way more than it really is. And again, for those of us who understand that, it wasn't a good look for him, but of course he wasn't doing any of that for those who know. He was talking to people who don't know any better, you know, and which is really unfortunate because oftentimes, and not only him, a few of them, to me, it's very disrespectful to the American people because they truly just think everybody dumb. Like, I mean, they really were doing things and treating people like they're dumb and they don't know better.
I mean, you know, and not only that, but to insult her intelligence, it's you know, it's exhausting as Black women to watch those hearings because it's like it's the insult to our intelligence. The fact that you have this overqualified, exceptional Black woman sitting here and listening to the level of, I mean, that what's her name again? The Tennessee senator, what's her name?
Blackburn. Marsha Blackburn. I think her first name Marsha Blackburn.
Who asked somebody what's the difference?
Let me tell you something. Like about 80% of those questions she asked, she almost know she ain't write them. She didn't know. Somebody gave her that list of questions to ask.
My thing is, how do you sit with a straight face and says, I need you to tell me what a woman is? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Brittany said something else. She's funny. She says, and this is not related to the scope of my work as a judge, i.e., as a motherfucking judge. Agreed. You don't ask somebody what is. She says, what's the definition of a marriage? What's the definition of a woman? Ma'am, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and those are, and she knew she couldn't answer those questions, right? Because again, those issues are going to come before the court, right? Those issues are going to come before the court. So it was correct for Judge Brown Jackson to respond in that particular way, but they didn't want the answer either. They're just trying to make it look as though, well, that's a simple question. Why can't she answer this simple question? Or to make it seem as though that she's being evasive because she's not answering a simple question. Like, 25 years ago, that might have been a simple question, but nowadays, it's not a simple question anymore. That's an extremely loaded question right now that is going to get litigated. And when they were asking about defining a woman, the case that a lot of that people were talking about was that case of that swimmer, Leah Thompson, I think her name is, who competed as a male athlete for 3 of her 4 years in college. Didn't win anything. I ain't gonna say decided to identify female. Now identifies as female and was able to compete with women, and she beat them. And the women the biological women protested her victory, and so that's going to become an issue about whether or not trans athletes are able to compete in other sports. And it really is mainly going to be an issue when you have biological males that are now identifying female that's competing with female athletes. Maybe there will be some male athletes who will have a problem with a person who was biologically female and now identify male. That may be a case, but I think most of the cases are going to come from female athletes who think that they're at a disadvantage because they're competing with people who were biological males and presently identify as female.
And the fact that they thought that they can go ahead and ask her all these questions that could be potential cases in the future.
There will be cases.
That will be potential cases in the future. Is to me is offensive. Like, not even offensive. There's a word that I use in the beginning.
It's a distraction. It's an absolute distraction.
It's like you can't just come in and you can't just have a regular hearing. This is a judge that they had voted for 4 times before.
Three times before.
With no problems. This is the same committee.
And I think one time was like last year. It was like the last time was probably a year, less than 2 years ago.
Literally, they just voted for her. Three times. And now we're sitting here for the Supreme Court. All of a sudden, we have issues.
It's a whole problem
with her. And then they threw in the pedophile. Well, not the pedophile, but they threw in the
child pornography cases.
Child pornography cases, and the same child pornography. Not saying, but most of the pornography cases in conservative judges ruled the same way.
The same way. And that whole idea of like everybody should go to jail. That's not even how the system works. There are different ways to punish people. Some people, they do sometime in jail, they do sometime under community control, house arrest, they do sometime under probation. It's different ways in which you sentence someone. Everybody doesn't go to jail. And that whole blanket statement that he made about like, oh, they should go to, she said, well, if I sentence them the way you're telling me to do it, people would get sentenced to 30, 50 years. And Lindsey Graham like, I don't care, they should go to jail for 30 or 50 years. But what he doesn't understand is that there are cases where, like, if you have a 15-year-old that's dating an 18-year-old and that 18-year-old is in possession of some body shots from the 15-year-old, that person could be considered in possession of child pornography, even though they're dating. So now you want 18-year-olds to go get sentenced to 30 and 50 years in prison because they have pictures of the person who they're dating body shots. So you do want judges to have discretion, because one of the things that happen is that oftentimes when people think of the person that's in possession of child pornography, they're thinking of like some 40-year-old living in his mama basement looking at 8-year-olds. That is not always the case. And one of the things we also have to understand that there are many cultures and many places around the world where men marry girls that are 15, 16 years old. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that that's how it is, right? And because those relationships, and then there are, like, for instance, in Indiana, you can get married at 15 with parental consent, right? But if that husband that might be 25 has a picture of his 15-year-old wife, I mean, maybe there's some, unless there's some exception that's in the statute that say, if the picture of the underage person is your spouse, you don't get sentenced to federal time. You could have a situation like that, right? Where if you give the judge no discretion to look at the facts of the case, you understand? So this his whole thing, all his antics about send him to jail for 30 and 50 years. That's not equity. That's not equity, and that's not what it's about, and that's not what sentencing guidelines are about.
I'm trying to remember. I remember Senator Graham, I think, was talking about the Guantanamo Bay people. He was talking about them. He was like, they can rot in jail for all I care.
Mind you, they pointed out that the people that are being held in Guantanamo Bay, I think it's costing taxpayers like $15 million a year per inmate. Yep. And he's like, I don't care. It'll be worth it if it's $100 million. Okay. Don't interpret what I'm saying is that I'm okay with people that are in possession of child pornography. What I just want people to understand is that the people who they think are always in possession, again, is not this 40-year-old looking at an 8-year-old. You can have young folks that are dating that don't really fully understand the legal consequences of being in possession of certain things, and then they can find themselves in front of a judge. And if the judge has no discretion, can you imagine just throwing that young person's life away 30, 50 years for something, because ignorance of the law is no excuse, because of something that was innocently obtained, you know? So
and that's why judges are tasked with looking at cases in its context. So when you have a hearing like this and you're not hearing everything in its context, they try to portray her as someone who was soft on crime. But as a judge, that's not the case. You have to look at it within its context. And so I understand that this is what the Republicans are supposed to do because this is a Democratic nominee, and vice versa. Stephanie made a comment saying, honestly, Dems do it too, under the guise of determining judicial philosophy. I get it. However,
they've taken this to a new low.
And I agree with that.
They've taken it to a new low.
This is not a candidate. This is not a nominee that had, like Kavanaugh, who raped the woman in college.
Allegedly.
I mean,
this is what we could say. That woman at least testified that she was so traumatized by his experience that she has 2 front doors on her house.
She does.
So that part, that's part of the record. So even if there was, if you don't believe it happened, at least whatever the interaction was between the two of them, this woman was so traumatized by that experience that she has 2 front doors on her house right now.
And then the alleged victim testified to that, right? So allegedly you have a nominee, who is now a justice, accused of rape, allegedly. And when asked about those things, no composure was kept. A lot of crime going on.
I like beer, so what?
I like screaming and yelling. And
they updated his Wikipedia page while they were scrubbing the internet about things about him while that was going on. But and one of the things they talk about is like how when they did the FOIA request, which is the Freedom of Information Act request, about the documents, how like certain documents they didn't get or they got it late. In the Kavanaugh case, they straight just didn't turn them over. They just didn't give them. And the things that they did give, they probably gave them an hour before they showed up. So he was talking about a document dump. I'm like, y'all really want to talk about that? Reflect on how y'all handle Kavanaugh, but okay.
Listen, I get it, and I get what Stephanie's saying too, that they do that on both sides.
Not at this level.
But when you have a nominee like Judge Jackson, who for all intents purposes was clean compared to other justices before her, y'all were pulling for straws. Okay, y'all were trying to pull for straws, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And good luck to you thinking that y'all was gonna go ahead and take Black excellence down as if we didn't see, because we see you. It was exhausting watching it. It was exhausting being an overqualified, beautiful Black woman sitting there listening to these unqualified people asking you questions. But ma'am, you did a great job, and you are the epitome of Black excellence. Okay.
Yes.
And we can't wait for her to be sworn in. I'm so excited for her.
I think they're going to start the vote on Monday. I think they do the first round of votes on the 4th, April 4th.
On the 4th of April. We know that Clarence Thomas, Clarence.
It's his wife.
I know. But
that Jeannie boy.
That man don't know what she doing. Come on.
Jeannie, no, he know what Jeannie doing. You know Jeannie out here just causing all kind of trouble.
And you notice how he was sick and he was in the hospital while that came out. Okay. But Clarence,
well, I think if they are going to try to force him to leave, they may wait. The Republicans are going to wait till November. Yeah. Because depending on what happens in November, if they have a majority or whatever, then they're gonna so they'll have a better chance of getting somebody that they want on the court. Right. So they're not gonna push for that right now. Yeah. But in November, if the Republicans take control of the Senate, they're gonna have a chat with him. Be like, come talk to us, man.
Jeannie,
we got some things to tell you.
Jeannie out here doing stuff out of spite, but okay, sis.
No, Jeannie. I don't know if it's out of spite. Jeannie, I feel a little bad for Clarence Thomas because he don't understand that his wife married a judge, not him. She married a lawyer and a judge, not him. Okay, that lady married a title, not that man. I feel bad for him. She married a title, not him.
Whew. Well, I guess no. I guess you must give some people a little bit of grace, I guess. But I don't feel sorry for him at all. After what he did to Anita Hill, I don't feel bad at all. I'm kind of glad
Jeannie was calling still, because Jeannie still be trying to call Anita Hill. That lady. She called her for real. She called her like some years later.
For what? Call for what?
She had nothing else to do that morning.
Girl, bye. Bye, Jeannie. They don't took your text phone, your text messages out here demanding things to be done because your husband's a whole judge, a Supreme Court judge. You tried it, sis. You tried it, but okay.
Got it too by voting no.
Listen, now Jeannie, you don't open up Pandora's box, so now they're gonna be looking at everything your husband done did, what he voted on, how he voted. Why he voted that way?
Yeah, but they ain't gonna press that till they see what happened in November.
Well, we'll see.
So that makes it even more important that Democrats get elected.
Hey, y'all better come on with this.
So Val Demings is running for against Marco Rubio.
Yep. And then
United States Senator from the state of Florida.
Don't forget Georgia. Warnock is running against another
Herschel. Is it Herschel Walker?
This man, have you heard him speak? Jesus. Ugh.
I know. I used to watch him. He was a good football player.
Well, and those who are concerned about their children, their sons going into football, take a look at Herschel Walker and consider if that's the sport you want your child.
I don't know if football did that to him. I think the brother was kind of just like that already.
Okay, well, there's videos out there. I don't know if it's CTE, Stephanie, but I can tell you there's something else going on besides CTE over there. There's something else going on there. But I digress. So don't forget. So we have Stacey Abrams running for governor in Georgia. We have Warnock for senator in Georgia. That's up. We have here with
Val
Demings. So please, donate to their accounts, show them your support. More than ever, we need to retain both House and the Senate to get some kind of relief going on here. I don't know what it is, but we need something. All right. So do we really want to move into the slap that was heard around the globe,
around the world? I mean, we talked about Kim K.
That out there, Will Smith slapped the crap out of Chris Rock because he was defending his wife.
Wait, what?
Will Smith at the Oscars were 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's head, and Will Smith took it upon himself to walk on stage. He wasn't on stage with him. He got up out his seat, walk on stage, and slap Chris Rock with an open hand in the face, and proceeded to go back to his seat and curse out Chris Rock and told him to keep his wife's expletive name in his mouth. That's what had happened. So I wasn't watching the Oscars that night, but my children were, and they came into the room and it's like, "Oh, Mom, did you see what happened?" I said, "Well, what happened?" It's like, "Oh, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on the face." I said, "Oh, that was like a skit, right?" He was like, "No." I said, "What you mean, no?" So I went to go look because apparently it was on rotation. As soon as it happened, it was on rotation. And I'm just trying to understand why we slapping people, why we can't use our words, we can't have conversations. Why wasn't Jada like, "No, Will, don't do that," or "This is not the place at the time"? Why didn't Denzel say, "Hey, that wasn't cool, you need to apologize"? Or Tyler Perry, like, "I get how you feel about your wife, but that's not the place at the time." Like, I'm trying to understand. I'm all about defending the Black woman. I just have an issue with how we defending our Black women. Like, how we doing that? Like, because
how we engage in certain types of conduct and say we're doing it trying to defend a Black woman, using defending Black women as an excuse.
And see the thing, that's where I'm conflicted, because I don't want to say it's using it as an excuse, but I feel like the person that he is and the longevity that he's had and the career he's had, it
could be out of character. It's just out of character. That's his own stuff. That wasn't about his wife.
I just feel like you could have still walked up there and said, "You need to apologize to my wife publicly." I think you could have done that. I just don't understand the open hand, because that is the most disrespectful.
No, that's the second most disrespectful thing to do.
Oh, yeah, Shannon.
The second most disrespectful thing to do. The first most disrespectful is to spit on somebody. And then slapping them with an open hand is the second most disrespectful thing.
I just think that is just like the level of disrespect. I feel like was the joke in poor taste? Probably. But
I mean, I don't get to judge that because it wasn't directed towards me.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of jokes that I've heard, and I've heard some very offensive jokes by comedians, that just didn't seem that bad, because it was about G.I. Jane, which is a woman who was trying to be a Navy SEAL, which was played by Demi Moore at the height of her career. She had the best body then. She looked good with her short hair. It was nothing bad about that G.I. Jane look. At least,
but I think because I'm gonna play devil's advocate, but I think the impetus of this is that she's struggling with a medical condition, an autoimmune disease that caused her to have to cut her hair. So that's one aspect of that. Personally, for me, all I can say is in the general sense.
I mean, I know people have alopecia. They don't have the option of cutting their hair. All their hair gone.
Right.
So whatever her level is, it's
was the joke in poor taste? Yes, I would say, it is what it is. It wasn't poor taste, but did it warrant an open hand slap?
Never.
I don't think so. That's just me. I don't think so, because Mr. Grant would not come up to somebody and slap the hell out of them over a joke like that.
Yeah, and it was not a joke about alopecia. Stephanie said it wasn't a joke about alopecia. It wasn't.
It wasn't, because he didn't say it wasn't. And that's from what I saw. It wasn't a joke. He was like, "I love you" in the beginning, because that's what comedians do. "Hey, you know what? I love you, man, but you this, that, the other. And if you didn't like it and it didn't hit well," and he even said it was a nice joke. I wasn't trying to,
And they work together. Him and Jada work together on those Madagascar movies. So there's more to it, more to this story that we may never know, because it ain't our business.
There was a statement that came out that stated that he was triggered because he said that there was a time when he was 8 years old and his father had beat up his mom and he didn't jump into that. And so he was triggered at that moment. And that
all that therapy they do, and he didn't address that in his therapy sessions? Apparently. That he out here slapping people on international TV?
All I can say is
they do a lot of therapy. You watch that Red Table Talk, they're in therapy for all kind of stuff. So
well, I wish you would just get off of the Red Table Talk. I wish you would just stop. Just don't do that no more. All
right.
I just don't do it no more. Just like just don't do it no more.
I don't believe in people blowing up their marriages, but it's time for that marriage to end.
Oh, I'm not gonna say
I'm gonna say that. It's that marriage is no longer productive.
I'm not gonna say it shouldn't benefit them. But what I will say,
nah, it's time for them to part ways.
I won't say
if that woman got that man acting like that, she ain't no good for him no more.
I'm not gonna say that she shouldn't, but what I will say is,
I'm saying he need to leave.
If that was my husband and he, you know, let's say, okay, I'm gonna give her, let's say she didn't know he was gonna go up there and slap her. Let's do that. I'm gonna give her that. But the minute he came back and sat down, I would have told her, don't engage. I would have told him, don't engage anymore. Like, just don't engage. And we have to go. Like, we have to go. Whatever happens after this, we're just going to leave. And somebody's going to, if you win, somebody will take that for you on your behalf. But we have to go. Like, we can't stay no more. Like, I would have been like, okay, we have to go. We can't stay.
Listen, the way so I grew up hood, right? So
I grew up hood too.
I grew up hood. And women who allow their men to do stuff like that get people hurt. People lose their life over that kind of stuff, right? And so people are all ragging on Will and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And yes, give Chris Rock his prop for the way he handled that with grace. But with my hood upbringing, the way Jada acted in that situation, because he kind of was responding to her being upset, right? And then at no point at least they didn't show us of her trying to calm him down, de-escalate talk. Women who do that kind of stuff get people killed. And so I have no respect for like none of that. No, because that was that Baltimore coming out or whatever it was, you know. People lose their life over that.
Smiling. So, Stephanie said she was smiling.
Yeah, that right there. I ain't got no respect for the way that she let that go down, how she allowed that to continue. And he needs to see how she responded to that. Maybe in that moment he couldn't reflect on it, but he had a couple of days to think about how this whole thing played out. It's time for them to part ways. He need to walk out of that situation because she clearly don't want to be married to him no more. I know they had made some vow and commitment to like never get divorced or whatever like that. Yeah, it's time for y'all no good for each other no more. She don't want to be married to you no more, bruh.
Let me also, okay, so apart from all of that, we had a conversation and I want you to kind of elaborate a little bit on that. We had a conversation about what the Black people were talking about in social media and all that after this.
And the white people too?
White people too.
Okay.
So personally, between me and you, when we've had this conversation, we agree that Oprah's BFF is a little messy. Who is that? Gail is her name. Yeah, she's a little messy. And so she had what is his name again?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey on, and basically saying that the Oscars was trash and they let him stay and he would have sued him for
got a standing ovation and all of that.
I mean, like it was all of that or whatever. And to me, I feel like, okay, you couldn't pick nobody else, but
who you talking about? Gail couldn't pick nobody else?
Yeah, she couldn't pick.
Ain't nobody else want to go and talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, makes sense. So she was just stuck with a white person.
I guess.
Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing all of this in is because we had a conversation and because it was just blowing up over the weekend, right? And so I'm reading some of the posts and I'm looking at some of what people saying, and a lot of people were like, Black people white people can't say nothing. This is not your place. Like, take a step back, don't speak, right? Then you have the Black group that says, now you made us look bad in front of all these white people. Now the narrative is gonna be the thing. They
what would have made us look bad in front of white people is if Chris Rock would have punched him back, would have slapped him back.
Stereotype, Black on Black crime, Ray, and all that bunch of other stuff. And so one of the conversations we had, and I appreciated your point, is that you said, why does one Black person have to carry the whole Black people on their shoulder?
They shouldn't have to.
And so elaborate a little bit on that.
No, they shouldn't have to. So people are, oftentimes when folks, and I mean, we do it we do it, right? And we worried about, oh, like if I do this, then people are gonna think that all black people are like that. We shouldn't bear that responsibility. That ain't had what Will did, and what Will did had nothing to do with all black people, right? Because most black people know better. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's this unwritten rule. You don't slap people. You understand? You know what I mean? Like, if he had gone up there and punched him, I think people would have responded differently, because they'd be like, okay, yo, I'm just letting you know I'm trying to fight you, right? For talking to my wife. So I'm punching you with a fight. But when you go and slap this dude, that's like so much, that is so disrespectful that it's like, oh my God, right? So black people should not have to be worried should not have to bear the responsibility of the behavior of Will Smith. That was Will Smith junk. Will Smith got enough money, enough people should have enough handlers that he should have known to behave better that day, right? And so this whole thing about how, anytime we do something, we always have to have that concern about like how what we do is going to affect everybody else. That's not fair to us, and that should not be the case, because white folks go and do whatever they want all the time, and ain't nobody, because one white person did something bad, they saying like all white people are bad. And I'm not saying that because white people get a pass, black people should get a pass too. I think individual people should be held accountable and responsible for their own behavior, right? And it should not spread on to everybody else, right? What Will did got to do with me, because I would have known, and all the people I grew up with, they would have known better than to go slap that man. And even if they wanted to fight him because he disrespected his wife, they would have went up there and fought him. They wouldn't have went up there and slapped him and then walked away. Like, no.
So I totally agree with you, because I want us to talk about the narrative that is when a black person of whatever celebrity, person in politics or whatever does something, all of a sudden the black community got to bear the burden. But when white people do some things, not that they get a pass, everything's looked at in an individual way, and that's how it should be with black people. We are not a monolith, right? We just because one person behaved badly doesn't mean the rest of us are like that.
So, because they don't give us credit when they do something great. Right?
They don't.
Let one black person do some great stuff. They just make them not black no more. Like Michael Jordan just is all of a sudden ain't black no more. That brother about dark as me, or we matching, but he's considered something outside of blackness, right?
Absolutely.
O.J. Simpson, before he allegedly, he was found not guilty. Before his wife died, his ex-wife died, since he wasn't convicted of killing her. So before he was beyond race. Then all of a sudden they were trying to give him back to black people.
And my point is the thing that we talked about is like we need to take back our power, right? Like take that narrative and be like, no, that's not what it is. Because when y'all be doing stuff or whatever, we don't lump you all together.
And it ain't even about what y'all do when y'all be doing. So part of it is like when y'all be doing stuff, y'all be like, that's that individual, that's not me. Right. Listen, I ain't do nothing. So
I'm just saying, like,
leave me alone. I didn't do nothing. Go talk to the person that did something.
We're our own worst enemies, because if you look at social media, everybody's like, oh, he done messed it up for all the black people.
No, he messed it up for him.
No, he's in the individual. He made that decision. We weren't part of the conversation. Ain't nobody, he didn't say, hey, you know what? If Chris Rock say something, I'm gonna go up there and slap him in the face. Are y'all with me? It was all his thing. So my thing is that I would love for our community to be like, all right, we're all individuals, right? Mm-hmm. We're all individuals. Somebody does something wrong or whatever. We should be able to tell people, listen, that wasn't right or whatever, and keep it moving. It shouldn't be that, oh, now we're at the Oscars. And then, it's like, it was almost like the Black Night, because there was so many people who were in the black community that was nominated, and here he go, and he don't mess it up for everybody else. No. Look at it as, because if it was a white person that was attacking another white person on the Oscars or whatever, guess what? It would have been a small story. They would have been like, oh, they trying to work things out or did whatever. And it would have still went on. But the fact that it was Will Smith, we shouldn't have to carry that burden. Why am I carrying that burden?
And the other thing too, it was also Will Packer was the producer of the Oscars, right? And that was the first time a black person produced the Oscars.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I'm going to give some responsibility to Mr. Will Packer too, right? Mm-hmm. Forget you rattlers, don't come for me. I said what I said, and I'm going to say it, okay? I am wearing green or whatever, but I'm still going to say what I'm saying about this rattler of yours, okay? So he was producing the Oscars. One of the things is that there's a 30-second delay from the live and the airing is a 30-second delay. He did not have to air that slap. He did not have to. No one needed to see that live. They could have cut, because I done seen them cut off, go to commercial, go to whatever. He didn't have to air that. And some of why he probably aired that is because he does a lot of reality television, right? So he might have had his reality TV moment in that moment and allowed that to air. So there's responsibility that can go a whole lot of different places, because that really shouldn't be on the loop the way it is. Because, we don't have that much control. But he has some responsibility in that. So as Will behaved badly, Jada started it, egged it on, didn't stop it when I think she could have, and Will Packer should have cut.
Why Jada started it and egged it on?
He started it because he was laughing, and then all of a sudden she got mad. And Will Smith is playing a game that he ain't gonna never win. He's trying to keep Jada happy and trying to stay with her. That chick is gonna keep moving the envelope on what you need to do to keep her happy and to keep her to stay with you. So you're gonna I don't know what you're gonna find yourself into next, but you can't, for you to be living your life, and again, I don't know the man. I'm just saying what I'm observing. I don't know. I believe that she don't want to be in that marriage no more, because she's done a whole bunch of things to let this man know that she don't want to be married to him no more. But they insist on staying together for whatever reason, and that's just based on what I've seen, because I think there's a couple of non-negotiables that done happen, but they may have different ones, right? But it seems as though he did that to please her. Right. And the line to pleasing her is going to continue to change. And he needs to understand that. And once he realized that, he's going to see that it's time for them to go ahead and go their separate ways. One of the things that I saw people were talking about was like, they've been married 24 years. That's successful and all that. Now, please, because people been married 24 years don't mean they're in a successful marriage. That just means they've been married 24 years.
They are not relationship goals. They are not relationship goals. They are not marriage goals.
I'm not gonna get into what, because everybody's relationship goals is different. But
everybody's relationship goals is different.
When when you allow, because he is allowing a person to get him to a place where he's behaving like that, you got to reevaluate that relationship. Ultimately he did it, but his
own mama was like, I ain't never seen him act like that before. He's never gone off on anybody like that before, ever.
And I think that's why Denzel, Samuel, and all those people were kind of gravitating towards him, because it seemed like it was so out of character for him. Because I know if he had slapped Samuel was going to slap him back, even though he's 20 years older than him. Samuel was going to slap him back. So, yeah.
I just want to make sure that our people know that we're not a monolith.
And we don't have to hold the weight of the whole community on us.
What Will Smith did, that's on Will Smith. That has nothing to do with the Black community at all. Like it just nothing. It's just,
and you live your life. You can't. It's exhausting.
In individual ways, just like the white people look at things individually.
Again, just like the white people, you live in this life. This life is you. You cannot be held responsible for the conduct and actions of an entire race, and don't do that. Don't do what you need to do. Don't.
The reason why I'm putting it.
Should you be cognizant of like how others may look at you? When I say others, I mean like you may be a role model to some, right? So you do want to live your life and set an example that others may want to follow. That's one thing. But the holding the burden of a whole community, nah, man, don't do that. But definitely, do watch, like your younger siblings are watching, young kids may be watching you. You may even be in a position where you would inspire others, right? So yes, living a life of example, right? But don't live a life carrying the burden of the entire community on you. Those are not the same things.
And it's flipping that narrative and taking back our power is the real point and goal that I'm trying to get to, is that even though we have someone like Denzel, Will Smith, Chris Rock, and the others or whatever, they're still human beings. They still will make mistakes. And just because they do that doesn't mean that is a reflection on our on the race or the
entire community.
It's not. And the faster the Black community understands that, the better, because the narrative was put out there. We adopted that narrative. And I'm going to say, I've put myself in, I've seen those things, and I've like kind of said, oh, now he make us look bad for all of us. I've done that. I mean,
They made themselves look bad.
I'm just saying,
Chris Rock was an example of grace.
We need to get away from that narrative, because that was a narrative that was created by not us. So don't take that, because it's not
people who want to justify treating us all the same way, or want to hold on to the idea like, see, that's why we scared of black people, because they're going to use that as because they want to continue to keep this same perception or this same idea. So they're going to use that as an example to keep justifying whatever preconceived notion or that they already have. So they want to be scared of black people, right? They want to say that all black people are aggressive in all of this kind of way, and they want to justify their fear, even though they shouldn't be afraid. That's just whatever. So they're the ones that's gonna say that, right? And don't feed into that. Like, I ain't
don't feed into
I ain't
that. So Will, you on your own, bro. You need to whatever. I mean, I don't know how much therapy you've been getting, but apparently you may have to switch your therapist, because I just doesn't seem like it's connecting right with you. If that's the case or whatever, but we wish you
all. He might need to change his goals, because when you go to therapy, the therapist is supposed to like guide you based on the goals that you've set. He may need to make some adjustments in the goals that he's set.
Yeah. Bruh, that behavior that night,
completely out of order. People lose their life for stuff like that, and people have lost their life for less. That right there, listen. I ain't say Chris Rock plotting, but I'm just saying, if Chris Rock is plotting, a lot of people understand.
All I'm saying
I'm not saying what he's plotting to do. I don't know what he's plotting to do. Or he may not be plotting at all, but if he is, people understand that.
You could have used your words, because you went and assaulted somebody while 50 million people was watching. Dude, it's
and that's not for the culture. That's what he did was not for the culture. Don't try to act like you defended black women. That wasn't for the culture. Will Packard letting that stuff air, that ain't for the culture. Ain't none of that for the culture. Ain't none of that for the culture. So since y'all ain't do none of that for the culture, don't let the culture should not have to bear the embarrassment and burden of the foolishness y'all did, because ain't none of that was for the culture. None of it.
And your speech afterwards, because you won an award, your speech afterwards was, to me,
not for the culture either.
To me, true remorse and true, if you're really sorry for what you've done, you would say it. Not hide behind,
I've done all this stuff for black women. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar put out a statement, and he said that too. He said people who are out there doing stuff for black women and doing stuff for people, they just do it and don't talk about it.
Right. And not only that, but
you don't need to talk about it if you're doing it. Just do it and don't talk about it.
When he was talking about it, I think he but he also ruined the moment that would have been a wonderful moment for Serena and Venus with the portrayal of their father. And then he used the father and says, well, I'm crazy, what you call it, and whatever. Like, if you looked at the movie, that's not what that was. And now you again added on to something, and you did it. Now you can't drag people in there with you. Like, at some point, you kind of listen, you know what you saw there was not me. I totally apologize. I'm taking this award. However, I need to.
He couldn't say sorry because his wife probably didn't want him to say he's sorry. That's why. He ain't gonna make.
So
a boss for getting happy is going
to say it just doesn't sit well with me. It was very awkward and embarrassing to watch. For those who are out there saying that he has to defend his wife and protect black women, there's a way that you can protect black women without it looking like that.
That was about him. That was not about his. Well, I mean, the wife kind of started the mess. So if that was about her, that was about trying to keep her happy. And it
didn't have to look like that. That's all I got.
It don't have to look like that. And if that's what she needs you to do for her to be happy, bruh,
yeah,
it's time to readjust your therapeutic goals.
I just wish you the best. He's clearly hurting, and there's a lot of hurt there and a lot of pain. And I wish him the best, and I hope that he gets through this. I don't know what the Oscars are going to do, because I know they had
they can't do nothing. They can't take his. They should not. I don't think he should lose his Oscar over it. Because he did the work. I mean, he did the work. So what? They might not like it, or they could be like, "You can't come back for like 5 years. You ban him if you want to, but he shouldn't lose his Oscar."
I don't think they should take it either. I don't think they should take it back either. I think I know that there's some consequences to your actions, because you just can't act any old kind of way and not get consequences. But as far as taking away the Oscar, I don't think they should do that. I'm not in agreement with that at all. But that was the slap heard around the world. And for the most part, majority of people are not really happy with that behavior. He even said that the behavior was bad. He came out and apologized.
In a statement.
Yeah, he made a statement on his social media accounts that he apologized. He said he apologized to Chris. I'm not sure.
That apology was public, in person, and disrespectful. And the disrespect was very public. The apology needs to be very public too.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I agree. All right. So the book of the week is Righteous Troublemakers, Ooh. The Untold Stories of the Social Justice Movement of America by Reverend Al Sharpton. I think that's a great book. If you are into Audible readings, it's on Audibles as well. You can get it on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. So that's the book of the week. We wish Will and Jada some
healing,
because she put a statement saying that is the healing season and she's all about that. So we wish her some healing then. we wish her some healing. We wish Will some healing. His son came out and said that
Chris Rock show in Boston is sold out. So if y'all in Boston, y'all can't get tickets. But he's on tour. So go ahead and support the brother if you want to. I mean, so from a financial standpoint, he doing all right from the nonsense. I wonder what kind of jokes he's going to tell as a result of it. I suspect there's a Netflix special that's going to come from this tour. So he's going to make a little bit more cheddar over that slap, but that disrespect still needs to get dealt with.
Okay. People still think there's some people, there's a group that still thinks that this was all staged.
I mean, hey, it might have been. If it was, I think I'd rather hear that it was staged than that was real.
I agree.
Like, for me, I would feel better.
I would.
If I find out that this whole thing was staged.
I would too.
Even if they had us talking about it for 3-4 days, I really would feel better if it was staged. Because for that to be real is too much. That is too much. Okay, so I want it to be staged too.
I would love for it to be staged.
If that comes out, that be the statement, I'm good with that. If it was for him to sell out his show.
If he comes out and he says April Fools, I'm gonna take it. I'm okay with that.
I'd rather hear that.
Because that was cringeworthy. But I have to say that my oldest daughter watched the awards show and she said that the hosts that were doing it, nobody was safe because they were coming for everybody. So I mean, so to me, I was like, I get that the joke was distasteful, but did it warrant a slap? Like
it did not.
I don't think that.
No, it did not. No.
I don't think.
No.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. The votes will start. You said April
4th, I believe at 10 o'clock. But don't quote me on the time. But they're going to start on Monday.
So they're going to start.
I think they're supposed to make a decision on the 8th or something like that, or take it to the full whatever on the 8th. So I think like the judicial committee votes on the 4th, then the full Senate is supposed to vote on the 8th, and then they go from there.
All right, so we're looking to get that. We want to support Judge Brown. We're very excited for her. Judge Jackson Brown. Sorry,
Brown Jackson.
Midterm elections here in Florida and throughout the 50 states. We got senators and governors up for re-election. So look at your local listings for the state of Florida. We know that the state
primary is August 23rd. That's the primary date, but then there's early voting 2 weeks before that.
2 weeks before that.
So the primaries is August 23rd.
Because the laws have changed, please make sure you check to see what your voting status is. And if you need to redo it or send out something else, please check online. So
I think you have to do that probably before July the 21st or 22nd. You have to.
Time is running out. So if you have an opportunity, please go to browardsoe.org. browardsoe.org if you're in Broward to check your voter registration status and make sure that you're on there. And then also make sure that you see who in your area, because we do have some other small elections happening, commissioners, school board members, city mayors and all that. Those elections are going on now. Well, not now, but they will be in August. Make sure you check that out. And Stephanie reminded us that on April, the session has to restart again. They're bringing back another session because the governor vetoed the bill, vetoed the map. And so now we have to go back in terms of redistricting for the Florida legislature. Please go on Florida, what was it again?
Channel.org.
FloridaChannel.org. And you can watch it. She said the week of the 19th of April. So check your local listings or go on FloridaChannel.org and find out when that's happening, because they will have a time frame on when they're going to be discussing it. I think it's important that everybody pays attention. The governor is trying to break up Black districts and cut them up in pieces. And so this is not a surprise. When it's run by a certain party, they always try to get the best for their party. So that's not a surprise, but still is important that you pay attention to what's going on with that is concerned. Somebody had one question before we go.
Brittany.
She says, can someone do something wrong and then recover? What does that even look like in this situation?
So, I mean, there's redemption. I believe you could do something wrong and recover. There's redemption. I read something that they said Chris Rock is waiting for Will Smith to apologize, or call him, and, they can figure that out. I think they could get past it. And Will need to, like, straight up explain why he slapped him, because he ain't slapped him over that G.I. Jane joke. That ain't why Will slapped him. It's something else going on, and he needs to come with the truth, and then, maybe Chris Rock will understand. But he didn't slap him over that joke. That level of disrespect was not for that joke. That's some other stuff going on, and whatever that is, I don't know him, but that was about something else. And maybe it's about his daddy beating his mom when he was 8. Maybe it was about some stuff that Chris Rock said about him before. Maybe he just got some other things going on that he realized he don't want to be in this marriage and he's scared to leave. Whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? He needs to come with the truth about like what that's about, because that was not about that joke. I don't listen. I don't have no side D or nothing like that, but I deal with a lot of people and I understand certain things about people. That was not about that joke. That was some other stuff. And if he comes to Chris Rock with the truth and figure that out, Chris doesn't have to forgive him, but they can move past it. But he need to go talk. He got to talk to that man. He got to talk to that man, and he got to come vulnerable and with the truth.
And I also, Brittany, believe in redemption. I think anybody can redeem themselves. How you go about redeeming yourself, that's you got to figure it out on your own. But yeah, you can recover and you can redeem yourself. Something like that on a grand scale requires, in my opinion, a grand scale apology.
Primetime special.
Yeah, there has to be a grand gesture in order to time. But in the whole scheme of things, yeah, people are everybody's can be redeemed. Anybody can get redemption. In this situation, the way you did it is the way you have to apologize.
That's Twitter or Instagram, whatever, however they sent that message.
Red table, you need to come to the table, and y'all come.
He don't need to go to the red table.
Whatever, but the way he did it is the way.
The prime time special. That got to be like a Shaq and Kobe coming together and talk.
Yep, it has to be something like that. It has to be a grand gesture, and if there's still animosity there for some other stuff. Then
they can sort out the messy stuff before, but then the apology needs to be very public.
It needs to be very public. Agreed.
And in person.
And I would venture to say that Jada needs to be part of that conversation.
Nah, he need to just leave Jada. I'm
sorry.
I was like, I'm not no hater for real, but that stuff what she did, I'm maybe I'm being triggered, but I'm telling you, people lose their life over that kind of behavior. I'm telling you, I was triggered by the way she dealt with that. Like, so that's my stuff.
You were.
I was absolutely triggered because I grew up hood. I'm telling you, people lose their life over that behavior. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have a problem with it. He got to figure that out and figure out how he gonna deal with this moving forward. But he don't need to.
Anyway,
get him to that space again.
Yeah,
we need to work with that. We need to work that out.
So listen, we're gonna go, but I wanted to remind everyone we're still in a pandemic. Yes, we are. We're still in.
But they said the numbers are low. People taking their masks off.
Yeah, but you still need to protect yourself. Okay. Mm-hmm. People are still catching COVID, even though the numbers are low. The numbers are still there. It's not that the numbers are zero. It's just the numbers are low.
There's a BA2 subvariant of Omicron in the streets.
It's in the streets. So please continue to wear your mask whenever possible. If you haven't taken your vaccine,
it's up to you.
It's up to you, but I would really strongly consider it. You know, we're going to ride out this storm together. We're just going to make it happen. Midterm elections here in Florida. Like we said, please go to floridachannel.org for all things map redistricting, because the Satan decided that he wanted to veto the map. We have local people running school board commissioners in different cities. Please make sure you check your city and see who's up for election, who's representing you, and be part of the process, because the last congressional race, that candidate won by 5 votes. Your vote matters.
All right. And so what I want to say about these elections, like, so every day I get some posting that somebody else is joining a race that already got people in it.
Woo.
Listen, Black people, we don't need no District 20 all over again. All right. Ain't nobody got no time for that. Like, please, I'm not no dream killer. I know you want to make your dreams come true, but we don't need another seat with 17 people running for it. That's not me. That's not me being no dream killer. That's not me being no hater. That's me being like for real serious. Y'all need to figure this out. Go run for something else.
Yeah, because that could be a very big hindrance.
It's a whole problem. And then they all calling me. Don't call me. Nope. I'm not giving all y'all money. I don't think all y'all should run.
And calls for support. I just think that we all should have a conversation about what we're doing.
Don't go adding your name to no list that already got people in it. No. Shoot, no.
Brittany said that's strategic.
That's strategic to be counterproductive, and it works against Democrats. So stop being silly.
I'm just saying, you know, we can't be filling up all the. There's other places and there's other things you could run for.
Go find something else to run for, man.
You can run for a whole bunch. Listen, we want to sit at a table on every table. We want to be at every table.
I mean, they got people moving to go run for seats. What? No.
Y'all need to spread out. Spread out a little bit.
If you want to move, go move someplace else. That's not in a race with another person that's already in it.
I'm just saying.
I'm talking to no one in particular.
We are sending emails out to candidates so they can come on a show and have a conversation with us about what they're running and why they're running. And if you are a candidate that's in one of these races that be a whole bunch of people, we will be asking you why you running in the race with a whole bunch of people.
Oh, Brittany says strategic not to put their name in the mix. That's right. They don't do it. Like, just support that person. You know.
I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying, stop packing these races. Like, yeah, stop packing the races.
And the 80-year-olds, it's time for you to choose who you want to replace you.
Y'all
and name them and help them win. Because I had my students watch some of the confirmation. Each class I had them watch part of the confirmation. And they were stunned to see how old the senators were. They were like, how old that person? Like, what? I'm like, oh, so clearly y'all ain't paying attention to who it is that's making these decisions. They were stunned by the sheer age of the senators. You know, some folks are like 88 and 84 and 82. They need to start naming their replacement, support them. And if you 88, in this instance, I am talking about somebody in particular. Please don't run for a seat that got 6 more years. You 88. That person knows who they are. They probably not watching, but they know who they are. You 88 and you about to run for a seat that got 6 more years? Are you kidding me?
Who's 88 and running for a seat that got 6 more years?
Pay attention to who the senators are, and then you'll figure it out. Okay, so that'll be the trivia question. Somebody could tell me.
Okay, next week, whoever knows who's 88 that's running for senator, we won't say a state because that would just be giving it away. But whoever's 88 and they're running for senator, yeah.
for a seat that got 6 more years. That's a 6-year term. Please name your replacement, support them, and get them elected.
There you go. Pass the baton. I strongly believe in term limits, and this is the reason why. You should not be 88.
Again, I ain't being no hater. I want to be 88 too. You know, I ain't 88 now. I mean, I want to be 88
and then tell people to get it together. I don't want to be 88 and have a whole community or a whole state that I'm responsible for, advocating, and half the time I may not understand what's going on.
Listen, I have students now and they talk about stuff and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm not 88 and I don't know what they're talking about. So when you talk about 88 don't know what I'm talking about, okay. Let alone what a 20-year-old is talking about. Okay.
There really should be an age limit too. Like after 70, like once you hit 70, you can't run for office.
In Florida, if you're a judge, you have to the Florida Supreme Court, you have to retire at 70. You know, they make them retire at 70.
I think that is appropriate. I think that is appropriate. I feel like once you hit 70, you should not be making any major decisions.
The 70-year-olds are like, I could work another 20 years, right? So because I remember when I was young and I used to think about 50-year-olds, I was like, 50, that's old. 50 really ain't that old, but 88 running for a job that got 6 years on it, I don't know about that, yo.
Yeah. The younger generation is ready.
They're ready. They're ready. They have access to more information than we ever had. They ready.
And this young generation that's coming, they're not only ready, but they understand the issues. Like they know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no mistakes. They don't get tripped up or nothing like that. They are able to converse. They are able to agree to disagree. These are not hot-headed kids. These are people.
And even if they're hot-headed, that could be passion. Pick your replacement, please, and support them and get them elected. You do not need to run.
I'm all about 20-year-olds getting in office. I'm all about it.
Everybody don't got to be 20 now. Like everybody can't be 20. 88 with a 6-year term? No.
I'm all about it. I'm
not an ageist. I'm just saying 88 with a 6-year term? No.
You're trying to get to one piece. I feel like at some point you all need to, you can't be sitting there and be running. No. All right, y'all. So we'll see you on the flip side. Hopefully we'll have a candidate or two next time we talk.
Coming up, yeah. And we're gonna start talking about the candidates that are in all these races, just to let people know so they can start looking into them, investigating, doing their research so they can make some decisions about who's running. So we'll get the list of. Well, I guess it's not final yet. When is it final? Like sometime in April? Or is it May? Then they finalize the list.
They have up until May to put in all their final paperwork. So once we get that final name, there's about 17 judges up for re-election.
Yeah, we might start talking about them now, so you guys can start putting in the work, and then we'll confirm like in May.
We have the ones who've already announced and then filed their paperwork. We'll have a list of those next week. We'll list the names. We'll tell you what districts that they were representing. We'll tell you what groups the judges are.
So we'll tell you what the maps say now, but the map gonna probably change after April 19th.
So look out for that. All right, y'all. We'll see you all on the flip side. Okay.
Be good.
Be good. We're still in the pandemic. Don't forget. Don't act like we not, but we are. Okay.
We is. All righty.